Hey everybody, Clay Archer, CEO DBC Technology, and I've got a big one today. Today we're going to review the AI PTZ Precision. As you may have seen in our previous reviews, I own the G4 PTZ Industrial and the AI PTZ Industrial. So I was super excited when UniFi announced the new AI PTZ Precision, and I wanted to see how it compared to the two industrials. So today we're going to get the AI PTZ Precision unboxed, we're going to get it installed on the wall, and we're going to compare it to those two previous PTZ Industrials. But before we do that, let's jump into store.ui.com and let's compare the differences between the AI PTZ Industrial and the AI PTZ Precision. Really quickly, all you need to do to compare several products on store.ui.com is to hover over the item itself and click the compare button and then add more items. So I'm only going to add two here. We could add much more if we wanted to. The G4 PTZ Industrial is no longer for sale, so you can't do a comparison on the site like this, but I'm going to put these two units up here. I'm going to click compare. And I'm quickly going to go through the differences. And the first one that jumps out to you is the $700 price difference. So the AI PTZ Precision comes in at $19,999 and the AI PTZ comes in at $12,999. The other obvious difference between these two units is the AI PTZ Precision is larger. And you can see here with the mount, we're 14.7 by 9.5 by 11.8. Which is just quite a bit bigger than the 8.2 by 8.8 by 13.4. It's not ginormous, but it is noticeably bigger and it weighs more. Higher night vision, we're going to go ahead and test this at night, but spoiler alert, I can tell you that the 100-meter distance on this is probably a little of an underestimate on how far it will go. And they both have that same 100-meter range. The zoom mode, and this is where most of the changes are, we have a 31 times optical zoom on the Precision and a 22 times optical zoom on the Industrial. Lightning zoom is still coming soon at the time of this recording, but it is a fast zoom feature that will use the LiDAR, I'm assuming. I will also do a short on that feature, so make sure you're subscribed for that. They both have all of the AI features of facial recognition, license plate, and smart detections. At wide, they are very similar, but you see there is a slight advantage here. The PTZ Industrial, but in telephoto, obviously the AI PTZ Precision is the winner there. They both have the same pan and tilt features. They both have the same weatherproofing. I will say both of these units are built like a tank, and I do think they both have best-in-class build quality and optics in these units. They are very, very impressive units just as a piece of industrial build and design. They both come with the wall and pull mount and desk stand, super versatile, and they're all included there. That's pretty cool. The original PTZ Industrial did not come with the pull mount and or the desk stand, and those are nice features to have just in the box. They both have gigabit Ethernet RJ45 port, and the night mode illumination is the same. Power consumption for both of them is almost identical, and they both use that quad-core ARM Cortex A53 based chip. Obviously, there are lens differences between the two units. You can check that out. As I mentioned before, the Precision does weigh quite a bit more. It is 12.1 pounds to the 8.4 pounds of the PTZ Industrial. As Sean said, and Daniel can attest to, you can skip shoulder days, the days that you mount these. They are quite heavy, and they are a bit like mounting a bowling ball up there. But we'll go through that mounting process in a second, and they made it pretty easy despite the weight. Well, the rest of the features are all the same. Like I said before, built like a tank, really nice features, and they do have edge recording on a micro SD card in both of them. So with that, let's go ahead and unbox the unit real quick. As always, this is typical, beautiful UniFi packaging. And the top is the cover for the wall mount part of the unit. Then below that is the wall mount unit itself. And then below that, super nicely packaged, is the camera unit itself. And it comes with that really nice bag that the G4 Industrial and the AI Industrial came with before it. So that's a really nice way to handle that camera before it's mounted. And then there's a box with the associated hardware in the bottom of the box. The camera lens and the associated surfaces have that nice clear plastic wrapping, and it feels nice to peel that off. So with that, Daniel and Andrew went outside to get the unit installed. Again, this is probably a two-person job just because it's kind of heavy, and if you're up on a ladder, obviously we had two people there to film it, but it is nice to have a second person just because this is a heavier unit. But just like the other PTZs that have preceded this unit, there's a plate that you bolt to the wall. Once you have the wall mount bolted to the wall, there is an upper unit that you then mount to that wall mount. The upper unit itself has two nice lanyards with carabiners on it. One is for the camera itself. The other one is for the lid that goes on top of that upper unit. So once you have that upper unit mounted, there's a nice little grommet assembly there that you can pass the Cat6 cable through, and that weatherproofs that assembly. And once that Cat6 cable is passed through, you can connect it to the camera, and then you can lift the camera and rotate it to attach it to the upper unit. I'd advise you not to be like us. We actually plugged in that Cat6 cable and the camera was live when we mounted it. I would disconnect it from the other end and not plug it into your PoE switch. Anyways, once you got the camera up and rotated, you can then pass through a couple of special screws that will then lock it into place there. Once that's done, you can attach the carabiner to the top plate, attach the top plate, and screw it down with the included screws. And there you go, it's installed. I didn't film the adoption process, but it's pretty simple. It will just show up in your Protect instance, and you can click Adopt to adopt the camera. If you need to see that process, I will leave a link down below to the G4 PTZ Industrial review. But here we go. We're now in the cameras themselves. I've got them all up and running here. But the cameras are the AI PTZ Precision in the top left, the AI PTZ Industrial in the top right. Then I got the G4 PTZ in the bottom left and the front door AI turret. And the reason I have an AI front door turret in this is I'm using this as a kind of a sentinel to, as people walk out the front door, make both of the precision and the industrial turn and look at the front door to follow that person. But you can see the image out of these cameras is superb. I will tell you right now, we are in the afternoon sun. It is the winter time. The sun is low in the sky. So this is very challenging conditions for any camera. And I think this is a really super nice image that you'll see here. Really quickly, I'm going to go through some of the features here. I'm not going to go deep dive into each one of them. If you want more in-depth on each one of these features, you can check out my AI PTZ Industrial review where I go deeper into those, but I don't want this to be too long and it's kind of redundant because a lot of the features are the same. But first you have return home, then you have presets, and presets are really cool. In any PTZ camera, you can set up these presets to go to different locations, and you can use the keyboard to use them. So I've got several set up here. I'm just going to go back in here to my keyboard, and I am going to press 1, and that is going to go to what I call my LPR location. And this is good at watching people leave the parking lot and getting their license plate. I'll go to 2. 2 is what I call my front door position, and this is good at grabbing people walking out of that front door. And then I added a couple of silly ones here just to show what you can do here. This is facing south, and that actually would probably be a good one. And then I added another one, which is zooming in crazily on the sign over here. And then R will always set you back to your default home location. So that's it for presets. All you need to do to make another one is go wherever you want to with the camera, and then just click plus here, and it will make another one there saved in that location. And then to delete one, you can do the same thing just by clicking that and removing it. So that's it for presets. For patrol, it's another cool thing. I'm going to go in here in patrol, and I will delete this one, and we'll create another one. So we'll go create patrol. You can have as many patrols as you want. And all you do is choose those presets. So I'll go LPR here, leaving office, south zoom, and south super zoom, and I'll go next. And now I could change the order of those by dragging up and down with this little toolbar. I can set the duration of how long I want to set in between each patrol, and I could add more presets here. So I'm just going to go create there. And then once you're in patrol, once you have one, you can click play here and it will just start doing those. So every 10 seconds here, it's going to go to the next one. And you can see you can have zoom, you can have pan, you can have tilt. Each one can be independent of each other. And every 10 seconds now is going to go to the next one. I went ahead and ended it there. You'll trust me that it goes through all of those. It's a pretty simple process. Next, we have our mouse, and that is to give us mouse control. Mouse control is pretty cool. So if I just wanted to zoom in on money pages over here, I'm going to click right in the middle of the D there in money pages. Then I'm going to go to zoom here, and I'm going to go to 31%. I could also use the roller on my mouse, but it's more obvious there for me to do it down there so you can see it. And if I wanted to adjust it a little bit, I can just click anywhere in here. Really cool way to do it. I'm using the mouse now to do the zoom out. I find that it's just easier for me to do it down here. I will also say here, if you use the mobile app, it really has a very nice joystick to control where things go as well. So if you're looking for other options to how to control it, it really is nice to have a iPad or a Android device that you can control it with the little joystick on the screen. It works really, really well. You can also use your keyboard, and down here, it will show you your keyboard shortcuts. With directions, it's the arrows. Then you have the presets with the numbers. You click S to save a preset anywhere you are. And zoom is I and O, and then reset and home is S. They all work really well. Once you get used to it, it really kind of is pretty easy to use the keyboard. Then next we've got shortcuts. Just like any other camera, you can add shortcuts. So if I wanted to quickly be able to go from the edge of the screen to the next camera, I could click where I want one, and I can choose that camera. So let's just say from here, I probably would want the front door, because that's the next thing there. And I could just click that there and save. And now there is this icon here that I can quickly go to that front door, and I can have as many of those as I want. Really cool feature. Here is another really, really cool feature that I think a lot of people are going to like. You have these notifications that you can have of things in the screen. So the problem that I have with these is that they get a little over crazy, especially in a parking lot like this. You can see we got all this hovering, and certain times, you're not seeing it now, but if I'm in a remote location or I'm on a slow computer, this does add compute to what's going on here, and it can make things a little jittery, let's say. That being said, I am at home right now, and this is the office, and it's looking great and no problems whatsoever. But you can have issues with that from time to time. There's this new one down here that's called Show All on Hover, and I really like this new feature. And what it does is you just hover over things and it will tell you what it knows about that thing. So, it's got a license plate detection going on this car because it's right here, but all I have to do is hover over it. But it's not showing me all those things so that my screen is all kind of, messy with those notifications everywhere. So really cool, very nice feature. And that is on, that feature is on all of them, to all on hover. Going back into the AI PTZ, we can take a snapshot and we're going to the settings themselves. A couple of things really quickly of note here. This is where you set that home view. So this is my home view. And you can also say auto return home after inactivity, meaning if you have it pointed somewhere and there's no activity for a while, it can come back to home. Honestly, as a feature request, I would like this to not just be 60 seconds. I would like this to be much longer than this. And I also would like that to be for when it is following somebody. Sometimes, and I'll show you a couple examples of this, it will follow somebody off into the distance behind a tree or something, and they're behind it long enough that the camera comes back to reset, when I would like it to wait long enough for them to come out on the other side of the tree or whatever that is. So I would like to see this be an option to go longer than that, but this is where you set that duration. You also can change the orientation. You can auto rotate, you can horizontal and vertical flip, which would be nice if you put it on the stand, because obviously the stand makes it be upside down. And under advanced setting, you can set all of the different qualitative settings for the camera itself. I usually leave those alone and set them the way they are. We will mess with some of this night vision stuff when it comes to nighttime. And you can also have 3 levels of HDR. I have it on HDR right now at medium, which I kind of like. It's nice and contrasty, but you can see here around these trees, you get a little bit of this, what I call HDR glow around things. I think the increased contrast is worth a little bit of that. If this was photography, I probably would not choose that. But, as a diagnostic tool to try and find what's happening and where it's happening, I think that's a pretty cool feature. Also, your basic settings here, you got your overview, your record settings, you can change when you're recording, how you're recording, detections, what you're detecting. All these things I've covered in previous videos. So if you want to see all those things, you can do that. Same thing with motion zones and smart zones that you could change. If you didn't want every time a car goes by, you could change that motion zone or smart zone to not include those vehicles in the background, which I'm actually going to do right now because it gets a little distracting to have all of those recordings. So that's the setup and features of the AI LPR. Let's jump in real quick and show you what it looks like in reality. And first off, I don't know how that's translating on YouTube, but it is quite an impressive image, as is the AI PTZ Industrial. Very, very nice images from both cameras. But what you probably want to know, and I will go back and we will do it again over here in the money pages, is what is the difference and what feature makes this different. And the main differential feature here is the zoom capability. So let's zoom all the way into that 3D digital here, and you can see quite a nice image there. And then I'll come in with the AI PTZ Industrial. We'll do the same thing. We'll use our mouse to get over here. Now I may have a little bit of issue because I've got a tree in the way in between the two of them, but it's going to be close enough that you guys can probably see what I'm talking about. And we'll go in full 22. So at that distance, obviously I'm focusing on a tree here, and that's not really a fair fight there to focus on that tree. But you can see here, I'm way up into the money pages, and I've got this 3D digital sign here. You can see here, while I was trying to do that zoom in, I got the 2 people leaving the office, and you can see each of them are tracking the person. You have 2 people in this view. You can see this one's tracking it quite well. The Precision is doing it from across the parking lot. It's doing a really nice job of following this person. Still focusing on their eyes, and it dropped them when they went behind the car there. Same following with industrial. They just got in their car there and they are leaving. So for my use case, honestly, they both do just a really super good job on tracking. We'll go through some more of those here in a second, but I'm gonna go back in here and zoom in again. Sorry, I was trying to get that done and they walked out. It is 3:47, which means everybody is probably gonna start walking out the door here in a moment, but let's try and get this done. So I'm zoomed all the way into 3D digital and I've gotta kinda even to get that in. Wow, that's just so far in and so sharp. And then I'm gonna go on the industrial and try and do the same thing. This is probably, I'm gonna say 100 yards away, maybe a little bit more than 100 yards away from each camera. It's kind of an equidistant spot here. And I know I'm gonna probably end up focusing on the tree, which I am here, which is in distance, but if you can just see the amount that's in view here versus the amount that's in view on the Precision. The industrial is it's quite a bit different zoomed in. Now, obviously, I'm not focused because I've got this tree in the way here. Sorry, because of the distance there. It's just kind of where we are. Let me do this. Let's go. Let's zoom out just a little bit, and I'm gonna see what I can zoom in on. I'm gonna zoom in on this handicap parking sign. This may be a little bit more of a cheat towards the Precision, but not by much. And so let's see, here's the sign over here. You can just see how easy it is to be really, really precise with your focusing. One thing about the Precision that is just undeniable is you can see while I'm zooming there how quickly that focused in on the parking lot sign. That is pretty incredible, how well it does that. But you can just see here the difference. Further zoomed in, sharper, gonna get more detail. That's just simply a 31 times zoom versus a 22 times zoom. Pretty good. I mean, obviously, this is a great image, and I would not be upset at all. And I can even go in with digital zoom there on top of it and be super happy there. I'll go in with digital zoom here and like I'm super happy with it. But that's just a super impressive throw there on the Precision. Let me do that zoom in and out again, and I will show you how the focusing in is just a little different with that LiDAR. I'm gonna go back in here to 22 times, and you can see it's just kind of hunting for it a little bit. It does a great job. I mean, this it's still kind of doing it a little bit. This is a reflective sign, so it's probably doing better there than it would do just without it being a reflective sign. And I'll do this again over here on the Precision. There is no doubt how quickly the Precision does the focusing. So we're zooming in, boop, 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 but it's doing that like in microseconds, doing that focusing. Pretty impressive. Is that $700 worth of difference? I think for the right person, it's going to be. The LiDAR definitely helps that zooming process. Catching focus, losing, catching, losing, catching, losing. And that's the difference there. Is that going to make a difference? If things are moving quickly, it probably is going to make a difference. If something standing still or slow moving, probably not make as much of a difference. But, it definitely is a thing. It is definitely for real. All right, so Daniel's going to walk over here to AI PTZ Industrial. Okay, so you can see I identified him. So that's the AI PTZ Industrial. It does a great job of just tracking people. And we'll go over to the Precision. And here you go. He's grabbing him. Go behind that sign. Still grabs him. He's walking. And walking. And walking. As I mentioned before, this is where I'd like there to be one more feature as he keeps walking into the distance. I'd like there to be the ability for him to, and you can see it's still focusing on him. Now he's losing focus because of that tree. I'd like to have the ability to stay here for a while because he may walk back out to his car or whatever, and maybe not this exactly. It's coming back to my home position. Now that's because I have it set to come back to the home position, but I'd like that to come back maybe 2 minutes later, 3 minutes later, 4 minutes later, 5 minutes later. And it does that after it loses him for, 10 seconds now. And I can go up to 60 seconds, but I'd like that to be able to be set longer. But just like we're talking, really, really nice image on this camera. Tracking's great. I can, Daniel comes into the view there. It immediately grabs him, immediately focused on him. LiDAR does a great job of focusing on him. Now I'm going to go off of him there, and I'm going to go off into the distance here. And this is probably what everybody really wants to see is how far is really far. And the answer is really far is really far. They do a really good job of zooming there. One cheat code is to use your mouse to go exactly what you want to zoom onto before you zoom, and then get it centered. So let's go to this sign down here. This is a for lease sign, and that's got to be 300, 400 yards away. And just see how easy it is to see what it's doing there and how good it looks. It is amazing. And then on top of that, I can even use digital zoom on top of that to just go in even more. It is insane how far that reaches and how good it looks. And once I'm down there, I can still use the mouse to kind of zoom back around if I wanted to see a little bit more. I mean, this is kind of as far as what visually makes sense in my, field of view. There's some stuff further down there, that car, but they'll probably leave before I can get zoomed in on them. But I mean, come on. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy at that distance. And I'm not sure I couldn't even read license plates at that distance. It's just nuts. I mean, that's a long, 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 long way away. If you are looking for the longest zoom that you're going to get in a UniFi camera, I mean, obviously goes without saying, but the quality of the optics, even at that distance, I'm having trouble finding stuff that's far enough away for me to test to kind of beat it up. It just does a really, really super job. And during the day, I think it's just phenomenal. Just for giggles, I'm going to do a same. It's not going to be the same direction because I've got it on opposite sides of the building. I'm going to do a similar test here on the industrial. And you can see here the G4 industrial is on the wall there too. I can get way far out there. That's a long, long way down. I mean, that high school is a long way. That soccer field, well, this is the other goal on a soccer field that is probably already 300 yards. So that's probably 500 yards away from my office. This school is, that's got to be a quarter mile. I mean, at least, I mean, it's got to be even a half mile away. Tempted on Google Earth just to show some of these distances. Okay, so just for reference, that one shot, that PTZ is here, and it was shooting cars here. That is a long, long, long way away from my building. And the high school, this is the soccer field we're looking at. This is that soccer goal, and it is that far away. That's the building that we're looking at. And this is our building. And that one is on this wall here. It is a long, I mean, we're talking huge distances here. And this isn't play stuff. This is very, very, very long distance. Unfortunately, on this end, there's trees in the way. I can't go much further to get you any further view than what I've got there. But we're starting to talk in large fractions of a mile here rather than in feet or yards or meters. But that is a superhuman feat by the AI PTZs just in general to get to those distances. Really quickly before we jump into the nighttime comparison, I wanted to show you one other feature that I think is really amazing. You may have seen in my earlier PTZ reviews that I have been requesting maybe a wider field of view as opposed to these super zooms. But they've come out with a feature that I think really kind of is a remedy for that, at least in my use case. You saw it happen earlier when somebody walked out of the door here. Both of the PTZs effectively zoomed just a little bit further to the left on this one, a little bit further to the right on the Precision to get a view of the people as they came out of the front door. And how did I do that? So and the answer is using a third camera as kind of a sentinel. So this is my AI turret at the front door. And if I go into my settings on it, you'll see that I've got two line crossings set up for this. One is a front door entrance. That means if somebody goes from B to A across this line, it's going to trigger this. And the other one is the exact opposite. We call that front door exit, whereas they go from A to B this way, it is going to trigger an event. And what we do with that is once you've got those set up with whatever camera, and it doesn't have to be an AI camera here, it could be any camera, UniFi camera that you had in this location. What we're able to do there is make that trigger the other cameras to do something. So I did that in Alarm Manager. And an alarm manager, and you can see I've got all my different alarms here. And this one's called front door exit. I could just create a new alarm here and do this from scratch, but I will go in and show you how I created this one with front door exit. Go in here and I'm going to go edit alarm. And you can see here I did an activity, which was a line crossing. And you can do all of these different things to make this happen. I could do this with an AI event or other things, but this particular automation just comes from a line crossing. on that front door AI turret, and I do it on front door exit. I could have done it on front door entrance, but that wouldn't have made much sense. And if you have multiple line crossings, you'll be able to choose each one of them. Could have done it from a different camera as well. And once that happened, I am doing a PTZ action, and I have the PTZ Industrial go to a preset called front door. You saw I went through those presets before showing you how we did those on the camera. And then I'm going to say go back after 30 seconds. This is another place where you get to say how long it stays there before it goes back. I'd like this to go beyond a minute, like I mentioned before, in a couple different areas. I think that would be nice to have a 5 minute or something along those lines, just so that, if something happened in an area with the PTZ, it can loom there for a little bit to see if somebody, gets out from behind a car or stops hiding behind the bush or whatever that is. But anyways, and then I also have it do a second one of a preset, and I could do a patrol, or I could do other features there, but I'm gonna do a preset on the AI PTZ Precision, and then that preset is called leaving office. Like I got an LPR one and a South Zoom, and you saw those as well. And I can say how long that's gonna happen. I'll say I'll stay there for 30 seconds, ignore repeated actions, and then I just go save. And then every time, as you saw before, somebody leaves the office and walks out the door, both of these cameras are going to pivot in and catch that person leaving that front door quicker than if I left them in these positions. So if I had, each of these cameras on the edge of the building, if I had a camera on the other corner of the building, I could have it hand off to these cameras to continue following that person. Really nice feature. But that's going to be it for my daytime review here. Let's wait for it to get a little dark and we'll walk out and we'll test these guys at nighttime. All right, so here we are at night. I'm going to have Jana walk around the parking lot a little bit and test out the different cameras. All right, so I've got Jana walking out of the office. She's going to walk across the parking lot here. It's finding her. It's focused in on her. It is tracking her. We have two people in the parking lot. Let's see if it keeps following Jana. It is. She's going to go across the parking lot. And then it's going back over to that other person. All right, now I'm going to have Jana come back again. And she's just going to walk straight across like everybody else does, straight across the parking lot. And it's following her, it's tracking her. Oh, okay, it lost you there. And I'm going to have her go to the other side and just test the industrial. It's following her. It's got her. Still tracking, doing a really good job. So that's a pretty easy sample size there. It's not pitch black out, but it's dark enough that everything's gone over to IR. So I think that's a pretty good example of people walking around here. Jamie's walking to her car real quick. You can see both of them zooming in and taking a look at her as well. I'm going to jump back in real quick and just show another run through of that image of Jana walking by with AI PTZ Precision, and just show you the quality of that image at night. I mean, really super detailed image there. And once I blew it up, I realized how much detail there was in just actually being able to see details of the person. When I was going by doing the first run through, I was like, okay, that looks decent, but I didn't realize how good that actually looked. And even at a distance here, let me zoom just a little bit. That's a really good image, and you're going to really be able to identify that person. And it's pretty typical of what we're using it for. Again, I think a couple things to note here. First of all, it's not super dark in our parking lot. So there is ambient light on. I do not have the parking lot lights on. I'll go ahead and turn those on real quick and show you what it looks like. But it's significantly brighter with the parking lot lights on. Both of these cameras do super well in low light. You can see the parking lot looks just really lit up, and you can see pretty well what's going on there. I have both IR emitters on. I'm going to wait a little bit till it gets really, really pitch black dark, and I'm going to show you what the IR emitters do at super long distance in the pitch black. All right, so now it is pitch black. You can actually see the stars in the skies. And for my last trick tonight, I'm going to show you something that is really cool. And I didn't realize it was on the AI PTZ Industrial as well as the AI PTZ Precision. When I first fired up the Precision and I did this test, I was like, holy mackerel. And then I did the same test with the Industrial, and it's the same. IR emitters are the same on each one of them. But let's just do this. I am going to use my mouse here, and I am going to focus on this tree up here. There is no IR on the Industrial right now, but it is just taking a look at that image. Now, obviously, it's going to have to take a second for it to focus there because it's dark. In another window, I have the AI PTZ Precision up and running, and on the AI PTZ Precision, I've got its IR emitter on. And I am going to take my mouse here and I am going to focus on that same tree and watch this tree light up like Christmas. It is just crazy what a bazooka this thing is. So I'm going to zoom in. Is that the craziest thing you've ever seen? So I am over here. I can move it around in the tree. I am lighting up that tree like it is Times Square. It is crazy. And what's even crazier is look at the trees behind it. And those trees behind it are probably 200 yards away. And it's so bright on them. It's just crazy. I'll go over here and I'll focus more in the background. I mean, the amount of light that's going on back there, I'm lighting up the neighborhood with IR. And just for reference, this is the building. Their lot is really super deep. I am lighting up the trees behind it. And it doesn't make a difference. I can do the same thing. I'm not going to show it to you, but the Precision or the Industrial both do this. I'm sorry I did not test this on the Industrial like this. I guess I just didn't have two super zooms. I didn't notice it. This is just unbelievably strong back there. And if I had further to go with it, I mean, that's a couple lots away. This tree here is a couple of lots away. It is far away. The IR light does not look like it has any signs of being weak over there. It is crazy. I'm just blown away. Now, you do not need to have the AI PTZ Precision to do this. You could do this with the Industrial, but if you have that super zoom and you have this amount, I'll put this over here. I mean, I'm zoomed in on that treeway over there, and if there was something in there, I bet you I could see it. It is crazy, the distance there that is traveling. I had no idea. So if you are looking for the ultimate at night IR bazooka, both of these AI PTZs are incredible. And if you want to be able to zoom in that far, then obviously this Precision is the guy for you. Over the moon on how good that looks at what it's doing there. And then, it zooms back in and it looks good right up front as well. So that's it. That's my completely unscientific review of the AI PTZ Precision versus the AI PTZ Industrial. I was going to do a little bit more with the G4 PTZ Industrial, but it just does not, mine's getting pretty long in the tooth. It's got that little bit of haze to it. I didn't really feel like it was a fair comparison. Would I replace my G4 PTZ Industrial with one of these new ones? I probably would not. It really still is doing what I needed to do on a daily basis. It's been up on the wall now going on 5 years and some change. And it's just a really good camera. And it will continue to be on my wall probably for the next 5 years. So that begs the questions, who are these cameras for? I think at night, the LiDAR does do a better job of grabbing people and tracking people. Optically, I think it is the superior camera. Obviously, being able to zoom that little bit more is nice. But do you need LiDAR and do you need that 31 times zoom? That is going to be a question for you. But I will pose the question like this. For me, I bought this G4 PTZ with my own money when this camera had very little development, and it was not a good purchase at that time. But as they developed that software, because the G4 PTZ was and still is such a great piece of hardware, it caught up with the hardware and it was able to become a really nice camera. And with the addition of the AI key, I now get face detection and license plate detection on my G4 PTZ camera, which is great. So what's your point, Clyde? There are physical differences between the Industrial and the Precision, and you will not be able to add those at a later date. So if you want the LiDAR and the 31 times optical zoom, you have to buy it now. You can't upgrade those things later. So I think there is potential for the LiDAR and the 31 times zoom to do some pretty cool things, like a lightning zoom. It's not available now, but if you don't have LiDAR in the camera, you won't get it later when it's added. So it will never come to the PTZ Industrial. Those kind of things make you go, should I get it now or should I save the $700 and buy the AI PTZ Industrial? I think for most, the answer is to get the AI PTZ Industrial. If you have a really large piece of property, or a very big warehouse or somewhere where you need that extra reach, I think the AI PTZ Precision may be worth the added investment. Also, if better focusing and tracking, especially in low light conditions, are important to you, then maybe that is worth the upgrade as well. So now that I have three of these, what I'm probably going to do is take the AI PTZ Precision down, put the G4 PTZ Industrial back up there, and give the AI PTZ Precision to Marty. Marty, who you may have seen in some of our other videos, has a very big backyard. It's probably 100 yards long, and it disappears into wetlands. There's a bunch of animals back there. There's gators back there. And I think this would be the perfect tool in his backyard to see what the critters are doing at night, or, if there's an intruder in the backyard or whatever. But I think that's the perfect use case. If you've got a big piece of property or a farm or a warehouse or a business park where you really need to go a long, long way and you need reliable recognitions and you want to be future proofed, I think that's where the AI PTZ Precision probably fits the bill. Anyways, if you have any questions or comments, please put them down below. I try and get to all of those. And as always, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video.